Yes. So, what are the questions you have about the country that we are going to discuss now? Because people don't know yet what we are going to discuss.
Well, I suppose like the first question is, what is the country?
So, the country that we're doing is South Korea, I guess, for this instance. You picked it because you have never been to South Korea.
Never been.
I've been in October last year, so that was my most recent faraway trip, if you would name it like in that way. Of course, right in this moment in time, due to coronavirus, maybe don't visit it or whatever. Make a decision yourself. But
not health advice. Not health advice.
We don't give health advice here. But besides that, do you have any questions
Yes.
for me for this trip that I made in
I do.
South Korea?
I do. See, I had this picture that South Korea is. Have you ever been to Japan?
I have been to Japan. Yes, I have.
I get the feeling that Seoul is just as expensive as going to Tokyo, for example. Is that the case?
So, before I will dive into details about how much it exactly cost me, I was pleasantly surprised about how much I paid in South Korea, because I've been to Japan,
Yep.
and Japan is a typical country where you will go and you will pay roughly the same price here as in any Western country,
Right.
but you also need to pay for flight ticket to Japan. So Japan
that's true.
is relatively expensive, basically.
Another question I have then about South Korea. So,
Well, let's finish this cost question first that you had, because basically I talked about Japan.
Yep.
But maybe it's a good idea to watch a video I did about where I explicitly told how much I paid.
Okay.
So basically I traveled the whole way from Seoul to Jeonju to Busan and then back, and that cost me for 14 days $556.
Oh, that's it.
So that's roughly around $40 a day per person.
Okay. Does that include the travel costs, or is it just
That's not the plane ticket.
No.
It includes everything when you're there.
So, like, the local trains or buses or wherever you call to different places.
Everything spread out over that period. So
Really?
we stayed 7 days in Seoul and then traveled around a bit as well. So 3 days in Busan and some 2 other places as well.
I see.
So we went, for example, to a lantern festival in Jeonju.
Yep.
And some other places as well where you had some traditional culture, and so just everything. The whole trip was roughly $40 per person.
That's actually pretty good. That's a lot more cheaper than I was expecting. A lot cheaper. Really good insight as well.
Yeah, but the good thing about South Korea in that perspective is the major thing that you want to do there, and one of the major tourist attractions, to call it in that way, is just experience the food.
That is
so
true.
normally you have the food costs during your trip, plus all the other things that you want to visit.
Yeah.
But in this instance, you will have just the food cost as your attraction, because it's a thing on its own to do.
That's true. I must admit, I've tasted quite a bit of Korean food. I'm guessing the Korean food actually in Korea is even better than what we have over here.
Yeah, it is. But I have to admit, Korean food is great.
Yep.
But the main issue is with Korean food, after a couple of days, or like at least after 2 weeks, I was kind of done with kimchi, all the flavored kind of food that they have, because the marinade that they're using has all the same type of flavor.
I see.
And the main product is just so bloody expensive.
Oh, so
fruit is so expensive.
Okay, so this is the funny thing. Like, coming from Europe and what have you, I get the feeling that you have to have veg and fresh fruit, a lot more often than, say, I'm from Hong Kong. We have lots of fresh veg. But we don't have that much fruit, I must admit.
No, I'm used to have.
That might be a lie.
Well, I'm used to have fruit every day, so it's like during a trip I know I will have less food, but there is just an issue that after a while you want to have some fruit, and we checked prices in the supermarket, and it's just ridiculous. It's literally you're paying. What was it again? For a box of cherry tomatoes.
Yep.
It's the same price as to get like a salmon and a steak.
What? That is crazy.
Yeah,
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
no, it's nuts. You pay £6 or something for like a box of grapes, that kind of stuff.
I see. So I'm guessing it's all imported and they don't grow it locally at all.
They don't have much fruit locally, I guess. That's the main problem. It's the same in Japan. It's like they have some fruit locally, I guess, but most of the fruit you will find is not locally produced. So yeah, those things are in specific expensive.
Okay, so
but if you can live without that for 2 weeks, then yeah, you're fine.
Well, the funny thing is, I actually don't eat that much fruit. I'm really, really unhealthy on that part. So I kind of like the idea of pickled vegetables for 2 weeks. Maybe it's because of my upbringing and my background, my Chinese background. But yeah, I'm just weird like that. I have another question about Korea.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like cultural sites, is it the same case that it's just as wacky or more like how does it compare to say Japan? I'm using Japan as my benchmark for Korea.
So Japan is in that perspective. Japan is more tech, manga, cosplay focused.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I guess, the image that you have with Japan and the weird culture that you can find there, which is great. South Korea is more about Korean K-pop, Gangnam Style. It's for women. It's perfect. I made this weird video about myself going out for fashion, because fashion is a real thing in South Korea, and I'm not a fashion guy, but there.
Really.
Hey. Korean sweater with turtleneck, yeah. I'm not the one who's styling myself, unfortunately. But besides that, they have, for example, one famous tourist attraction is plastic surgery.
Yep.
Plastic surgery is a big thing there, so people are coming over there to do plastic surgery.
That is definitely a thing I've heard about. The Koreans loving plastic surgery. I just didn't really understand it until I watched a documentary. It's
a big thing there. There's like a street, and wherever you look, you will see plastic surgery shops wherever you look, and so that's something where you will see guys wearing makeup. That's a normal thing, that guys are wearing makeup or earrings or whatever. That's their fashion. So that's something you will see on the street.
I'm not judging Koreans at all when I say this, but wow. That's pretty amazing. Like I can't imagine the. Okay, well, I feel like a dick for saying so. I won't say it.
No, but yeah, and then of course there's K-pop. So there's an area where there's what's the area called again? I should have known this, but there's an area in Seoul where people are performing at night and they're like dancing all the K-pop songs. And I was even sitting in a bus at some point in Busan, and the girl next to me was listening with her boyfriend to K-pop, and she was just doing the dance that belongs to that song in the bus. She just remembers the whole dance. That's really a thing.
Wow. So you can go to clubs then, I'm guessing, where everybody synchronizes to a dance.
Yeah.
Did you go to any?
I went to a club. Yeah, I did. But it wasn't. It was more what you see there a lot as well. Still is hip hop clubs. So that was a real thing.
Right. Well, the Koreans are known for their breakdancing and b-popping, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
B-boying.
I'm not sure.
I'm so not cool. I'm sorry. Please, I wish somebody on the stream would correct me.
Yeah, and then if you're interested in culture, it's a great place. They have loads of palaces and shrines and temples and old hammock villages, which are the old traditional houses.
Now you're getting me really interested. I'm loving that side.
And that's well, if you know, have you ever been to China?
I've been to like the parts nearest to Hong Kong.
Yeah, so
not the main line.
So basically, South Korea was part of the Chinese dynasty. So it was part of the Chinese Empire. So it was a kingdom of the Chinese Empire. So most of the old buildings, all the architecture and all that the style is based on Chinese history.
Okay, and so okay then. Well, it sounds like a type of place I would definitely be interested in going myself. Sounds like great food. I will be eating pickled veg every day with strong flavors and extreme spiciness. There's all this crazy old culture, which I'm definitely up for. Mm-hmm. And thirdly, you know what? I must admit, I'm a bit chubby around the chin, so I might need to do some plastic surgery whilst I'm over there.
And one other last good place that is good to visit as well. If you're in Busan and you love photography anyway, mm-hmm. There's a great art village. What they basically this place is related to the Korean War, so it's also as a history person, everything from Korean War is great. But
Yep.
this village now looks beautiful with all the houses, blue, orange, like art everywhere.
Oh, that looks amazing.
It's perfect for photographers.
Oh,
And it's
jeepers.
difficult to imagine that this place was a slump in the past. So all the war refugees from North Korea and stuff, they came here all the way to the south to fled from the Korean War.
Yep.
And they started this slum by themselves. And then in 2009, I believe, the government decided to give this area an uplift.
Okay.
So they hired artists just to paint the whole area. And now it's just a famous tourist attractions where people will come, shoot videos. It's a great place to hang out. And you can't imagine that just before that time, this area was just a slum, basically.
Oh my days! It goes to show you can rejuvenate a place with some pretty colours and some, actual initiatives like this.
Yeah, no,
I love the street art. It's amazing.
Yeah, and lots of cats as well. So yeah, it's great. It's a great place. It's small alleys, streets, stairs.
So this is Busan.
That's in Busan. So that's completely in the south. So
Right.
if you're going during summertime, then you can do a beach holiday there as well.
Okay.
Basically.
Last question about Korea before we move on. Tell me when's the best time to go? I'm not a big fan of heat.
You're not a big fan for heat. I would say, to be fair, then I guess when we were there in October is a good time for you.
Yep.
It's around 20 degrees.
That's a good temperature for me.
It's a good temperature to walk around.
Yep.
And there are two great festivals to visit. So there's in Seoul, there's the International Fireworks Festival. So if you're into fireworks, you can visit there, the Fireworks Festival. And then there's, of course, what I mentioned as well, in Jinju, there's the Lantern Festival, which is great to visit. And yeah, there are like great lanterns to visit, and night photography is a real thing there.
That sounds great to me.
Yeah, and they have some crazy performances as well, where I think, what the hell are they doing there as well? But that's maybe people like kids who have been trained from when they were born to do those stuff. So I will not be able to copy that.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that to the professionals.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, well, thanks, Sven, for enlightening me about South Korea. I'm definitely interested. If any of you guys are also interested in South Korea, let us know in the comments.